Hello there and welcome to this, the fifth and final episode of the world's most famous hauntings. So far through this series, we've looked at houses plagued with poltergeist activity, prisons with evil entities that won't leave, hotels so notorious that films were made about them, and the dangers of using a Ouija board and the ancient rituals of exorcisms. But in tonight's episode, we're not focusing on a single location. We're focusing on a whole village. With that much paranormal activity, it was dubbed the most haunted village in the UK. This is the haunted village of Pluckley.
The phenomena of seeing a ghost is a very rare occurrence. People can live a lifetime and never encounter such a thing. But for those that do, the experience can stay with them a lifetime. With that said, it's not uncommon to hear of tales of haunted houses, castles, or even graveyards. But what manner of occurrences could have taken place to have plagued a whole village to have the ghosts of their dead appear repeatedly, year after year? Pluckley is located in Kent, just 5 miles west of Ashford. The village's history is vast and appears in the Domesday Book as owned by the Archbishop of Canterbury in around 1086. St Nicholas's Church is a medieval building situated just off Station Road and is said to be haunted by a number of spirits, the most famous being that of Lady Deering, who died in the 1100s. Mysteriously, she was buried in 7 lead coffins inside a single oak coffin. She appears in 2 different forms and is often referred to as the Red or White Lady of Pluckley. Her apparition is often seen wandering in and around the church, looking for her unborn child. The sounds of footsteps coming from underneath the church and strange glowing lights have also been witnessed here, as well as a dog. When one paranormal group spent the night investigating the church, they reported to have no findings, but commented to the vicar about the lovely dog that was kept there, to which the vicar replied, "There is no dog here." Elvie Farm, now a hotel, was once a fully working farm. It is said to be haunted by an ex-dairyman called Edward Brett. In the year of 1900, Edward handed over some money to his wife and kids before heading into the dairy and shooting himself. His spirit has reportedly been seen by many hotel guests wandering around the halls and rooms, and even laying on guests' beds. Pennock Bridge is another area of Pluckley where a sad story and reports of a ghostly apparition is rife. A friendly lady, known by all the village, used to collect watercress and sell it from Pennock Bridge. One night she fell asleep while smoking her old clay pipe and drinking from a flask of gin. The gin covered her rag-like clothes before being ignited by her pipe. She burned to death in an agonising fashion. Her spirit appeared for many years as a woman on fire, but over the years has slowly died down to nothing more than an orange glow, accompanied by the sound of screaming. Greystones and Rose Court houses are both also located on Station Road. The story here is one of love and trauma, where a local monk from Greystones fell madly in love with a woman who lived in Rose Court. She was already seeing one of the Deering family, and she couldn't handle the love triangle. She ended up committing suicide by drinking a deadly concoction of poisonous berries and ivy. The monk was so distraught that he died shortly after of a broken heart. Both of their spirits have been seen wandering around the village and up and down Station Road. It is thought they are still looking for each other. Fright Corner is aptly named, as this section of road is where passers-by have been startled by a highwayman. He jumps out on them, as he did when he was once alive.
And I was walking down the road and this figure appeared in the corner. And I thought, God, what's this? And I froze more or less for a minute. It was a figure in a long black coat with the collar right up. Looked to me had riding boots on. And it went across the road, through the edge, and I just ran. I just tore off indoors. When I got in, I had goose pimples as big as eggs on my arms. What I see the highwayman. I can do anything, nothing will frighten me. No one will frighten me. But that certainly did that night.
He met his end here when pursued by the law. He was brutally run through with a sword and pinned to a tree. Sometimes this final fight for his life is replayed before gobsmacked passers-by, while others just see his body appear and disappear, slumped at the bottom of a tree. In the 1920s, down Dick Bus Lane, a group of school pupils were walking on their way to school when they saw a sight that would haunt them forever. The teacher was in front of them, hanging from a tree. The reason behind his suicide has always remained a mystery, as have many suicides in Pluckley. But his body is often seen hanging by people passing by to this present day.
Coming back from Featherston, being babysitting the grandchildren. It's past midnight. We got to Pluckley, what we call Pluckley Pinnock, and we see this bright lights coming towards us. You could see it was a coach and horses. We might as well just slowed down and we looked again because we couldn't believe our eyes. I mean, we've been up and down the roads loads of times, never ever seen anything before. There was nobody on it, couldn't see anybody on it. And then it just disappeared into the night. I mean, I've heard of Pluckley being haunted, but until we actually see that, I didn't really believe it until then. But I do believe that there are such things now.
The local public house, the Black Horse Inn, is home to lots of unusual, unexplainable activity. Glasses are seen to slide along the bar by themselves, and the ghost of William, an old bailiff, sits in the corner with his two red setters, watching over the pub, before slowly fading out of sight before customers' eyes. There's also the spirit of a young 7-year-old girl called Elizabeth, who hangs around the fireplace, tugging on guests' clothes. She can be heard laughing. It's widely believed she was murdered here many years ago. Deering Woods, or Screaming Woods as it's also known, is famous for exactly that. The deep blood-curdling screams that are heard coming from deep within the wooded area. It hosts one of the oldest Neolithic sites in the world. People who enter these woods claim to be followed and chased by shadow figures. But by far the most disturbing story to come from Deering Woods took place on November the 1st, 1948, when 20 bodies from 5 different families were found dead there. Even stranger than this was the lack of wounds or cause of death. Locals at the time reported seeing white lights coming from the tops of the trees, like a huge spider's web glowing in the dark. Exactly 50 years after to the day, in 1998, 4 college students went walking in the forest one night, never to be seen again. The police dropped the investigation after just 3 weeks, when no leads would present themselves. Interestingly, locals once again reported seeing white lights above the trees, similar to that of a large spider's web. Could it be something that lays deep within these woods or under them that is to blame for Pluckley's strange paranormal activity?